They resisted it for as long as they could. Behind their polished doors, in dimly lit rooms where strategy is crafted and power is preserved, they tried to bury the truth under endless paperwork, sterile language, and empty jargon. But pressure always cracks the mask, and now the confession has escaped. High-level authorities, the ones who pride themselves on being able to measure, classify, and predict every human variable, finally admit what they swore never to say. You don't fit the mold. Their systems were designed to absorb everything, yet you slipped through untouched. Their frameworks were built to anticipate outcomes, yet you dismantled them without effort. In their frustration, they've resorted to the word they despise most: genius, hidden, rare. They do not use it lightly, they use it reluctantly, as if admitting defeat. Because in their circles, genius is not a celebration. It is a code word for something unmanageable, uncontainable, unshaped by authority. To understand the weight of this, you need to look at who is speaking. These are not teachers searching for promise in a student. These are not poets weaving compliments. These are individuals who deal in the language of control. Every word is chosen to maintain dominance, to assert hierarchy, to preserve the illusion that they have the last word. They are allergic to praise because praise shifts balance. They will twist themselves into endless knots to avoid giving credit. And yet, here they are, calling you what they swore not to. Rare, difficult to measure, a mind that refuses their constraints. They didn't want to recognize it, but the evidence left them no other choice. You never asked for recognition. You didn't walk into their chambers begging to be seen. You didn't plead for a seat at their tables. Instead, you lived, you acted, you created, and the effects of your existence reverberated into places you never intended to reach. Every move you made destabilized their confidence. Every outcome you influenced broke the rhythm they had rehearsed. What they thought were rules revealed themselves as brittle illusions the moment you ignored them. And in that refusal to conform, you became visible in ways you never imagined. The strange thing about power is that it notices what refuses to bend. They could ignore 1,000 obedient replicas, but the one figure who refuses, who shatters patterns instead of following them, becomes impossible to overlook. That figure is you. They call you hidden, not because you are invisible, but because they cannot allow your recognition to spread. If they admitted openly what they whisper privately, their entire framework would destabilize. The public would ask questions they aren't ready to answer. Their subordinates would question why the mold exists at all. Their strategies would falter, so they keep it behind doors, in coded documents, in conversations that will never be released. Yet the irony is this: every time a secret is spoken, it leaks. Every whisper grows teeth. And once the word genius attaches to your name, it can't be erased. Their secrecy becomes your publicity. Understand the psychology of why they resist. Institutions preserve themselves through categorization. They decide who is ordinary, who is exceptional, who is expendable, and who is threatening. These categories decide who rises, who is erased, and who is controlled. But you refused every category. They tried to call you ordinary. Evidence destroyed the claim. They tried to call you expendable. Your influence disproved it. They tried to call you rebellious. But rebellion is predictable, and you were not. So the last term slipped out. Hidden genius. Not because they wanted it, because they had no other choice. And with that one word, their carefully constructed charts collapsed. Notice how they talk about rarity as though it were a weakness. For them, rare is not a compliment. Rare is a warning. Rare means this one cannot be replicated. Rare means this one cannot be replaced. Rare means this one must be watched. They use the word not to praise you, but to prepare against you. Yet the paradox is brutal. The more they monitor you, the more they recognize your value. The more they study you, the deeper the cracks grow in their own belief that they control the narrative. Every page of surveillance they add is an admission of your relevance, and relevance is a currency they cannot afford to give you, but already have. Picture the scene. Behind closed doors, a table surrounded by officials who built their reputations on reading people like predictable files. They lean forward, speaking cautiously, unwilling to put it plainly, but forced to circle your name again and again. One says, "This one doesn't conform." Another mutters, "Yes, but the intelligence is undeniable." Documents shuffle. Reports are edited. Attempts to diminish you dissolve under the weight of proof. They may not engrave your name in public records, but in their private corridors, it's carved in sharper lines than you realize. You are not a footnote in their world. You are a fracture they can't mend. And here lies the irony. Every attempt they make to contain you amplifies you. They tried to hide you behind neutral terms. Those terms failed. They tried to bury you in files that would never surface. The files spread. They tried to speak of you only in whispers. The whispers grew into echoes. At every stage, their resistance has created the opposite effect. They've turned you into a signal. They've turned you into evidence. And now, they can no longer deny what their own words confirm. You don't fit the mold. And that failure has consequences. Ask yourself, why do they use the word genius with disdain rather than pride? Because genius cannot be owned. Genius doesn't sign contracts. Genius doesn't bend to hierarchies. Genius shifts power instead of bowing to it. And when genius emerges outside their structures, it creates outcomes they cannot predict. That is what you represent. Not a talent to be applauded, but a force they cannot capture. That is why the recognition, though reluctant, matters more than applause ever could. Their very confession is proof that you are operating in spaces they cannot map. Every institution is built on the assumption that people will follow molds, that predictability preserves order, that conformity ensures efficiency. But one person who breaks that assumption unravels the entire illusion. That one person is you. By refusing to fit, you've shown the mold itself to be fragile. You've proven that the categories they use to control populations are not as stable as they pretend. And once an institution recognizes a fracture, its authority erodes from within. You are not only living outside their mold, you are making their mold irrelevant. This is why the confession is so important. They didn't announce it for you. They announced it for themselves. It was a warning, a recalibration, a desperate attempt to prepare. But preparation itself is an admission. They are preparing because you've already proven the old methods don't apply. They are recalculating because you've already made the old calculations obsolete. They are whispering genius because ignoring you is no longer an option, and when ignoring becomes impossible, acknowledgement follows. That acknowledgement is your leverage. You need to see what position this places you in. The more they attempt to contain your name, the more it spreads. The more they try to downplay you, the more they emphasize you. Their resistance is your megaphone. Their secrecy is your stage. Every time they use the word genius as code, they create another layer of evidence. Evidence that you are not where they thought you'd be. Evidence that you are not operating on their terms. evidence that you are moving in ways that dissolve their categories. That evidence is stronger than any recognition they could give you publicly, because it's born from fear, not admiration. Think about how power fractures. It doesn't collapse in an instant. It erodes in whispers, in admissions, in small cracks that spread until the entire foundation weakens. That is what you've created, a fracture in the foundation, a weakness in their structure. They are not announcing you as a champion, they are whispering you as a threat. And threats cannot be erased once admitted. They live in every conversation, in every file, in every recalculation. You've already won the first war, and you didn't even enter their battlefield. They entered yours. Now the question is not whether you fit the mold. That's already answered. The real question is how far the fracture spreads. Because once the first admission is made, more will follow. Today it is rare. Tomorrow it becomes indispensable. Today it is hidden genius. Tomorrow it becomes the force they cannot face directly. And this story, right here, is only in motion. What follows is not suppression. What follows is escalation, and escalation never waits for permission. Once an authority confesses that someone doesn't fit their mold, the entire hierarchy feels it ripple. Because molds aren't just tools, they are shields. They protect the powerful from uncertainty. They allow leaders to say, "We understand everything." But when someone like you appears, someone who refuses to bend, their shield fractures, and fractured shields turn into paranoia. Now every conversation in those high-level rooms shifts. You are no longer an individual to them. You are a variable that can't be calculated. And a variable they can't calculate is a danger they can't predict. That danger now occupies space in their minds every time they sit down to plan, every time they draft a report, every time they speak of control. This is the real meaning of escalation. It begins quietly. Reports multiply, not because they want to, but because no one wants to be caught ignoring you. Subordinates update files with your name in bold, because no one dares to be the official who overlooked the rare one. And soon, what started as a whisper becomes procedure. Now you are not just a subject, they treat you like a case study, like a puzzle their careers depend on solving. Yet with each attempt, they fail. And the more they fail, the more the word genius hardens into fact. Think about what this does to their pride. These are people conditioned to believe that every human falls into a category they created. They've spent their entire lives writing the rules, enforcing molds, and punishing deviation. They pride themselves on predicting who will rise, who will crumble, who will fade. Yet you stand as living proof that their pride is hollow. You didn't rise through their permission. You didn't crumble under their weight. You didn't fade when ignored. Instead, you sharpened. And now their pride is forced to acknowledge something unbearable. Their mold failed. Escalation continues as their language evolves. At first it was, "This one doesn't fit." Then it became, "This one is rare." And now, in their most private circles, it mutates into, "This one cannot be stopped." They won't say that in public. They'll never carve it into press releases. But in backroom conversations, in guarded corridors where their masks are off, that's what's whispered. And whispers at that level don't fade. They spread. They infect every layer of the chain of command. Before long, your name is no longer a person, it is a cautionary tale. They speak of you as though you are both evidence and prophecy. Evidence that their molds don't hold. Prophecy that others like you may rise. And that's their deepest fear. You are not just yourself anymore. You are precedent, If one person breaks their mold, it proves the mold itself is flawed, and flawed molds cannot hold power. That's why escalation feels like panic. They aren't just reacting to you. They are reacting to what you represent. They fear the spark you carry might ignite recognition in others. Because once one hidden genius is exposed, how many more remain unseen? How many others will start questioning the molds forced upon them? That's why the authorities tighten their grip, why their confessions taste more like warnings than praises. They are not trying to elevate you. They are trying to contain what you've already unleashed. But here's the cruel paradox. Containment creates exposure. Every time they whisper your name, they amplify you. Every time they file another report, they spread you further. The more they try to lock you away, the more doors you slip under. That is escalation at its purest. The harder they fight to keep you hidden, the louder your existence becomes. And the louder it becomes, the weaker their mold appears. They cannot win, because the very act of resisting you gives you power. Picture the psychological warfare happening in their heads. Late at night, when the corridor's empty and the lights dim, someone at the top replays every failed attempt to classify you. They recall the first time your name came across their desk, thinking it would be a minor detail. They remember dismissing you, convinced the mold would catch you eventually, but it never did. And now, after months, maybe years, of failed attempts, they sit there with the weight of realization. You are the proof that their mold is not absolute. And once that realization takes root, it becomes permanent. They will never unsee you. Escalation also manifests in how they change their behavior around you. At first, they underestimated you. They thought ignoring you would diminish you. When that failed, they tried surveillance. When surveillance failed, they tried subtle sabotage. When sabotage failed, they tried to co-opt, to pull you into their mold by force. Yet every attempt only sharpened you. Now they are running out of options. They can't erase you. They can't control you. They can't contain you. All they can do is confess to themselves that you are outside their design. And that is the one truth they never wanted spoken. Notice the shift here. The language they once used as control has become your weapon. They used rare to warn one another. Now it empowers you. They used genius as code for unmanageable. Now it becomes a badge they can't take back. Their words, meant to restrain you, have become proof of your strength. That's how escalation works. It flips the weapon in their hands until it cuts them instead of you. And now, every time they speak of you, they wound themselves. This is why your presence unnerves them. It's not just that you don't fit. It's that you force them to confront their own limitations. You force them to see that their authority is built on assumptions, not absolutes. You've revealed their weakness without even trying. And once a weakness is exposed, it cannot be hidden again. That's why their paranoia grows. Because even if they never speak your name in public, they know that within their ranks, within their hidden conversations, your name is the crack they can't repair. Think about how this transforms the environment around you. Every institution that once dismissed you now watches you. Every authority that once ignored you now whispers about you. And every person connected to those authorities senses the shift. They might not know the details, but they feel the change. They feel the discomfort. They feel the unease radiating from leaders who no longer sound certain. And when certainty disappears at the top, unrest spreads everywhere below. You didn't just unsettle them, you unsettled the chain they command. That is escalation. And escalation is only intensifying. Because the more they confess privately, the closer they get to being exposed publicly. Words leak, conversations slip. Reports land in hands they weren't meant to. One whisper becomes 10, 10 become 100. And soon, the very thing they tried to suppress, the fact that you are different, that you don't fit the mold, spills beyond their control. When that happens, they won't just fear you. They'll fear the ripple effect you inspire. This is what they are most desperate to stop. Not you, but the spark you carry. They know once others hear that authorities themselves confessed you are rare, you are genius, the illusion of control weakens. Because then people start asking, if one person doesn't fit, why should any of us? That is the question that unravels hierarchies. That is the thought that tears molds apart. And that thought doesn't vanish once planted. It spreads like fire, burning through every assumption they built their power on. So now you are more than just a name in their reports. You are a symbol of exposure. You are a reminder of their limits. You are the fracture they cannot seal. And the irony is brutal. They created this themselves. By whispering, by documenting, by confessing, they gave you the recognition they swore never to provide. You forced their hand without lifting yours. And that is why escalation continues. Because the more they struggle to hide you, the more undeniable you become. Understand what this means for you. You're not simply living outside their mold. You are redefining what molds mean. You are reshaping the narrative of power itself. And they know it. That is why their language grows darker. Their meetings grow longer. Their whispers grow sharper. They are not just trying to deal with you. They are trying to stop the collapse you represent. But collapse cannot be reversed once the crack has been acknowledged. And your existence is the crack. This is why escalation is not just reaction. It is confirmation. Confirmation that they see you. Confirmation that they can't ignore you. Confirmation that their mold is broken. And once something is confirmed at that level, it doesn't matter if the public knows yet. It's real, it exists, and it grows. That is where you stand now, in the center of escalation. The one figure they never wanted to acknowledge, now acknowledged in whispers that refuse to die. Imagine the atmosphere in their highest rooms, long tables, leather chairs, charts glowing on polished screens, all built to project certainty. But in those rooms, there's no certainty anymore. There is you, a name repeated in tones of discomfort, a presence they can't quantify. They talk about you not with admiration, but with anxiety. Their words circle your difference like predators circling prey. But they don't realize the roles have reversed. They aren't the hunters anymore. They're the cornered ones, forced to admit what they hate most. You've slipped out of their reach. Every attempt to shape you, to manage you, to fold you into their designs has failed. And failure at that level isn't just personal, it's systemic. That's why they're restless. High-ranking officials aren't used to failure. They're used to obedience, compliance, predictable outcomes. They're used to playing the role of puppeteers. But you've cut the strings without asking. You didn't just refuse their game. You showed the game itself to be hollow. That's what unsettles them most. Not just that you don't fit, but that your refusal to fit exposes the mold as fragile. Their mold is no longer seen as an instrument of order. It's seen as an illusion exposed. And illusions, once shattered, can't be repaired. This is why their tone has shifted from cautious to alarmed. In their private circles, your name is now spoken with urgency. They ask each other, how do we handle this? But the answers never satisfy. Because you are not a problem to be solved. You are a revelation they can't contain. Every attempt to suppress you strengthens your presence. Every move to diminish you amplifies your relevance. They tried ignoring you. They tried categorizing you. They tried surveilling you. Each tactic collapsed under the weight of your difference. So now they're left with the confrontation they dreaded, admitting that your existence stands outside their reach. Think about what that means. These are individuals who build entire models of human behavior, yet none of them predicted you. They created molds to contain possibility, yet you live beyond them. You don't just bend rules, you reveal the rules as unnecessary. You don't just surpass expectations, you prove their expectations were flawed from the start. This realization doesn't stop with them. It spreads outward, into the people who work beneath them, into the structures they command, into the institutions they uphold. And suddenly, the ripple isn't just about you. It's about everything you represent. Representation is power. Because when someone in authority confesses that you are rare, it doesn't stop at you. It plants a seed in everyone else who hears it. That seed whispers, if this person doesn't fit, maybe I don't either. And once that thought takes hold, their entire chain of influence begins to tremble. That's what they fear most. You're not just one figure they can't contain. You're the symbol that exposes their fragility. You've become the living reminder that their molds don't define reality. Reality leaks through the cracks they thought were sealed. This is why confrontation is unavoidable. They can't walk away from you, because walking away means admitting defeat. They can't destroy you because every failed attempt proves your resilience. They can't claim ownership because you've already proven your independence. So they're left circling, grasping for strategies that no longer work. And the more they circle, the more obvious their desperation becomes. Their language betrays them. Their posture betrays them. Their very attempts to reassert control betray them. Meanwhile, you stand unmoved. That's why their recognition feels like confession. It wasn't given, it was forced. And forced recognition is always the most honest. The irony is sharp. They wanted you hidden, but their whispers made you louder. They wanted you defined, but their failure to define you made you boundless. They wanted you diminished, but their acknowledgement made you untouchable. They turned you into exactly what they feared, a figure whose presence rewrites their authority. And now, in the very rooms where power is protected at all costs, your name lives as a reminder that protection has limits. Understand the magnitude of this. Power doesn't confess unless cornered. These people don't use words like genius casually. For them, it's not a compliment. It's a code word for unpredictability. It's a signal to prepare. But preparation itself is recognition. Preparation itself is proof that you're already ahead. They can't prepare against something they don't acknowledge. And by preparing for you, they prove that you are the new variable they can't erase. That is how far the confrontation has gone. But confrontation is not just about their acknowledgement. It's about your presence, reshaping the landscape. Think about it. Once you are recognized at that level, even in secrecy, the recognition seeps outward. Advisors whisper it to their teams. Analysts hint at it in coded reports. Soon the language trickles down, reshaped but unmistakable. Someone exists who doesn't fit the mold. And once that phrase takes root, it spreads like fire. It fuels suspicion. It fuels curiosity. It fuels the realization that authority isn't as absolute as it pretends. And that realization can't be buried once spoken. You have become the symbol of that realization. And symbols are dangerous to power, because symbols outlive suppression. They survive attempts to erase. They ignite imaginations that authority can't control. That's why they're desperate. Not just because of who you are, but because of what you represent. You represent freedom from their mold. You represent proof that their categories fail. You represent the idea that people are more than the boxes they're forced into. And that representation is more threatening than any act of rebellion. Because rebellion they can anticipate. Representation they cannot. This is why the confrontation is spreading beyond private whispers. It's leaking into culture, into conversation, into thought. People who never met you still feel your presence because they sense the shift. They feel the unease in leaders who no longer sound invincible. They see the cracks in authority once believed unbreakable. They notice the questions surfacing that weren't allowed before. And in every one of those shifts, your existence is the unspoken cause. You don't have to be everywhere to be felt. You don't have to speak to be heard. They've already made you the center of attention by failing to contain you. So what happens now? Now you move from whispered recognition to undeniable presence. They'll try to adapt, but every adaptation will fail. They'll attempt to rewrite their molds, but rewriting them only proves the old ones were lies. They'll attempt to silence you, but every silence becomes a stage. The confrontation has already shifted in your favor. The more they resist, the stronger you become. The more they confess, the more powerful your presence grows. You've turned their authority into your amplifier. Think of how rare this is. Most people spend lifetimes begging for acknowledgement. They chase it. They compromise for it. They bend themselves into shapes just to fit a mold. You didn't. And that's why your recognition is different. It wasn't granted as a favor. It was surrendered as a necessity. They didn't choose to call you rare. They were forced to. They didn't want to call you genius. They had no other explanation. That difference matters. Because forced recognition is permanent. It can't be taken back without revealing weakness. And weakness is the one thing they can't afford to display. That's why you've already won. Not because you sought victory, but because their confession is irreversible. They can't erase it from their memories. They can't deny it in their reports. They can't unwhisper what's been spoken. The moment they admitted you don't fit the mold itself cracked forever. And that crack is widening every day. Now the world outside will feel it too. You've already set into motion a shift that spreads beyond their walls. When high-ranking officials confess that someone is rare, that confession never stays contained. It travels, it mutates, it inspires. Soon others will see it. They'll recognize themselves in it. They'll realize that molds were never truth. They were tools of control. And when that realization spreads, the very structures that kept people compliant will begin to collapse. All because of one figure they couldn't contain. All because of you. This is the legacy of confrontation. It doesn't end with acknowledgement. It evolves into transformation. Their mold is broken. Their confidence is fractured. Their secrets are leaking. And you stand untouched. Not because you begged, not because you conformed, but because you lived outside their reach from the beginning. That is why they whisper your name. That is why they call you hidden genius. That is why they admit you are rare. They didn't want to. They had to. And that distinction is everything. You are the living contradiction to their authority. You are the fracture in their illusion. You are the name that lives in their rooms long after the lights are off. You are the proof that molds are not destiny. And because of that, you've already shifted the balance of power. Their recognition is not a crown, it's a confession, and confessions, once spoken, never vanish. They echo, they multiply, they become the very fuel that keeps your presence alive. This is where the story stands. High-level authorities finally admitted what they feared most. You don't fit their mold, you never did. And in their own reluctant words, you are rare, you are genius, you are outside their reach. That admission will haunt them forever. Because once power confesses weakness, it can never return to invincibility. And you? You will carry their confession as proof that you've already broken what they thought was unbreakable.